Alright, today I'll be trying something new. I'll be introducing some of the decks that can be built from the upcoming EB06, and mainly the Royal Paladin Blaster deck, Kagero Dragonic Overlord deck, Nova Grappler Beast Deity, and lastly Link Joker featuring the new Starhawk cards. Alright, so it's something that I'm trying for the first time. May not be as good as other channels, but I'll try my best. Right. Alright, let's take a look at the new Royal Paladin deck. And as you know, the new Royal Paladin mainly features on the Mechanic Lord Blasters with 6 different blasters on the field. You get all the original power and you gain their crit. Alright, so this will be the main ace card, new deck. Alright, so let's take a look at the whole build. So basically, as you need as many blasters as you can, we will have to put in every single one that's available, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 types of them. So you need at least 6 types on the field to activate the Mechanic Lord Blasters effect and most of the others. So let's take a look at the great ones first. Alright. So firstly we have Dagger. Alright, if you have 6 different types, you give all blasters with boost. So even you have grade 2 or grade 4, grade 3 at the back, doesn't matter. Alright, so this is a must have inside the deck in order for you to have the maximum power. And when your unit with Blaster, Arc Savior, Vanguard hits a Vanguard, you can actually return this back to hand. So in early game, you can actually save your Dagger from getting destroyed on the field and really return back to hand. Right, next up we have Javelin. Alright, when boosting, if your Vanguard is a Blaster or Arc Savior, you get plus 2000. And when boosting a Blaster unit and you have 6 different types, you can bind one of your opponent in the front row. Right, so for destruction, and also a plus 2000, which is a 10,000 boost that you can use from early game. Right, so the typical Blaster Blade, right, that we can't really reduce it as you need it for Exculpate. Right, so this we'll put it aside first. Blaster Arrow, right, so if you have 6 different types, your unit cannot be chosen by opponent's card effect. Alright, so basically your whole field gets something like Resist. And when enter the field, you have 3 different blasters on the field. Discard 1 card from hand, search for Arc Savior Dragon to hand. Alright. Next, we have Rapier. So if you have 6 different types, this unit got plus 15,000. Okay, and when attacking, if you have Blaster, Arc Savior, Vanguard, look at the top and return it back to top or bottom. Basically, Oracle Think Tank. Alright, so this is very crucial for the Mechanic Lord Blaster. Right, as Mechanic Lord Blasters, the second effect allows you to, when trigger check, if it's a Blaster unit, you can call on the field. So you can actually use Rapier to help you filter and allow you to have all 6 on the field. Alright, so Mechanic Lord Blaster. Alright, then as we know, we have Exculpate, which is a second finisher in the deck. Right, and there's a Blaster in name. And the reason why we only play 2 is because it's grade 4. And once you ride it, it's gone. Right, so we only play 2 copies as a backup. Next, let's go to the Arc Savior Dragon. Right, so this is a very unique grade 4 that can change its grade to grade 3 if you have 3 different types in your Vanguard and Drop Zone blasters. Alright, and the main feature is entering the field, counter blast 3, soul blast 3. Right, and you can call a total of 3 different blasters from either your deck, Drop Zone, soul, or damage, 1 from each area. Alright, so basically you get a 1 free heal with this dragon. Right, and as you can see, Counter Blast 3 and Soul Blast 3. So most of the time you can only activate 1 time in the game. Alright, that's when this come in. Alright, we added this because when your grade 3 and above Vanguard enters the field, send this into soul, draw 1 and call 1 from hand. So basically I add 1 hand, I add 1 soul, and I get to call 1 unit out. So as you know, this deck you have to have as many blasts on the field as possible. So imagine, right, upon right, I can send this into soul, right, then I get to draw 1. So let's say if I draw an arrow or rapier, I can actually call it on the field. Alright, so this is very useful for now, right? So when building a deck, the other great one that came to my mind was Maron and Pongal. Maron to increase my hand size and Pongal to increase the soul. Alright, because for this, even after I soul charge, I need to replace it with another blaster from my hand. So I'll minus 1 card from hand, while this thing actually give me a +1 soul and nothing else, right, which is very good. For Maron, counter blast 1 to draw 1 is very crucial in this deck, but I do not have enough counter blasts, right? So I have to remove it. Alright, as for the grade 3 and above, I was thinking of replacing 2 of the Archsavior with either Alfred, but it may cause some issue halfway through the game. Alright, the plus will be I won't have to be afraid that I do not have 3 in my Vanguard and drop zone, and can just write either of these. Right, so this can be a consideration, maybe just 1 Alfred in the deck. Instead of 4 Archsavior, will be 3 Archsavior and 1 Alfred. Right, so overall, this deck have basically 1 heal, 1 finisher, and lastly exculpate, another finisher. Alright, so that's for the new blaster deck. Alright, let's take a look at the new Kagero deck featuring the new Dragonic Overlord. Right, so let's start with the grade 3 first. Alright, so the new Ace card, Dragonic Overlord the Great, allows you to call out 1 Dragonic Flame onto the field on call. Alright, and once per turn, at the end of the attacking battle, if you have a grade 3 in soul, okay, counter blast 1, discard 2 cards in hand, stand this card and a Neo Flame. So instead of just standing itself, you actually stand 2 unit and check -1. Right, so this is the new Ace. So for my grade 3 choice, so as this is the new Ace, there will be 4 copies. Normal Dragonic Overlord. So firstly, because the name is Dragonic Overlord. Secondly, it have a rear guard effect and a Vanguard effect at the same time. So it's very useful. And Soul Blast 1 allows me to Soul Blast out Neo Flame if it's in my soul when I'm grade 2. Right, so this actually helps my second right, which is the grade in the game. Right, so that's for the grade 3. And not forgetting Waterfall. Right, this is another finisher. Right, so if I can't kill my opponent with the grade, this will be my backup plan. Alright, so I played around 2 copies as a backup. Right, so grade 2 have more challenge. Right, first of all, we have Berserk Dragon that allows you to counter blast 1, soul blast 1 on the field, when enter the field, retire an opponent. If it's a Vanguard, draw 1. Right, so the main reason why I play 4 is for the draw 1 if I manage to ride it. Alright, so I can't remove this as this is very useful. Alright, so next part comes the Armored Buster and Neo Flame. Alright, as you know, Neo Flame is the main counterpart for the grade. So I played 3 copy. I'm thinking of a 4. Right, and Armored Buster actually get a plus 3000 if opponent don't have rear guard. Okay, it's continuous, which means if I ride it on grade 2 and on my opponent turn, if there's no rear guard, I'm still at 13,000 Vanguard. Alright, very good defensive and very good offense. And the best thing is when enter the field, I can Soul Blast 2, retire an opponent rear guard, and look at 7 cards from top of my deck and search for an Overlord. Alright, this will help me if I didn't get to draw any Overlord at the start of the game. I can actually Soul Blast 2 as a backup plan to get my Overlord to hand. So it solved my misgrade problem. Neo Flame gives Draconic Overlord the grade additional 5000 when they attacks during the battle. And I can Counterblast 2 to get a +1 critical. The Counterblast 2 is optional, but for the 5000, if I have 3 on the field, my Vanguard actually get +15,000. Right? So this is actually very useful, but I don't really feel like playing 4 as it only helps the grade. Right? And lastly, I played 2 copies of this. So I have Burnout. So once per turn, I can Counterblast 1, return a grade 2 and above from my drop back to bottom deck, retire an opponent rear guard. Right? So I actually get to return a grade 2 and above back to my bottom deck. Right? So this is optional. Right? I can also go with 4/4. Right? But for now, this is what I'm testing out with. Right? So that's my grade 2. Alright. Grade 1 give me one of the most headache. So as you know, Elmo, that when boosting +3000, opponent rear guard get retired, retire this unit, draw 1 and counter charge 1. Alright, it's a ++. So it is very good. I can't take it out. Right, so still 4 copies. Alright, this is the interesting one. As a Vanguard, if the attack hits, I actually get to draw 1. And when your opponent's rear guard get retired, I can retire this to draw 1. Alright, it's a cheaper version of Elmo, but I actually get to draw 1 if it's the Vanguard. Right, so I like it a lot. Next, I actually played Kinara. Counterblast 1, retire this unit, choose 3 of your opponent rear guard, and retire everything else. Okay? So it's actually a good counter for Excel deck. Right, so you get to choose 3 of his unit and everything else get retired. So you potentially can retire 2 to 3 units from just 1 Counterblast. Right, so the other option I had was actually this Dragon Knight. So if your opponent have 4 or more rear guard, Counterblast 1, send into Soul. So I get +1 Soul. Choose retire an opponent rear guard and one of my rear guard +10,000. So what happened now is, right, so let's say I have Overlord and this. Okay, so let's put the triggers aside. Right, so let's say this is a scenario. I Counterblast 1. Alright, send this into Soul. Actually get +10,000 to this. Alright, so I get a bonus +10,000. Alright, so when after I attack, I resend this. This is 20,000 base, not including the marker that's under it. Okay, so this actually helps you have a additional finisher. You get additional 10,000 for this unit that attacks 2 times in this game, in this turn. Right, so this is an option. So right now I was thinking of maybe just 1 Kinala and 2 of this instead. Right, so that's for the Draconic Overlord deck. Right. Alright, let's take a look at the Nova Grappler deck featuring the new Azure Dragon. Right, so this is a very unique card. When enter the field, Counterblast 1, draw 1, call a unit onto the rearguard circle, and you can attack the Vanguard during the main phase. If it didn't hit, you can stand it. Alright, and when attacking, Counterblast 1 to stand 1 rearguard. Alright, so you actually get to attack during the main phase, which there's pros and cons. You actually have additional attack, and the con will be mainly because if your opponent manages to trigger defensive trigger, you have some issue in the later part of the battle. Right, so this is the new Ace card, Azure Dragon. Right, for the secondary Vanguard, I actually contemplate between Perfect Riser and the Incise Riser. Right, Incise Riser, counter blast 1, stand all rearguard on the additional rearguard circle. Alright, so you can actually stand on your Excel circle. And as for Perfect Riser, you actually counter blast 2 and just stand 2 units. Alright, this will have more options, but the cost is a bit too high. Alright, so most high chance that I will switch it back to Incise Riser 4 copies. Alright, this is one of my main attacker in this game. Alright, Maximizer. The effect is very simple. When not boosted, attacking Vanguard, this battle plus 10,000. So what happened is, if it's on my Excel circle, so it's 22,000. When attacking, it's 32,000. With Ultra Dragon, I can withstand another 32,000. Alright, so it's ridiculously strong for common. But I only played 2 because I do not want to write onto this. Right, and let's take a look at the grade 2s. Right, so for grade 2 we have actually a few options, but the main feature will be Genocide Jack or Brutal Jack in the English version. During your turn, plus 10,000. Alright, this unit do not stand during your stand phase. Once per turn, rest 2 of your rearguard and stand this unit. Right, so plus 10,000. If I were to call it onto a Excel circle, that will be 29,000 per attack. Right, that's no joke. And this deck have a lot of withstanding function. So in this case, I can have a 27,000 lane when attack. If I manage to stand it with, let's say, Perfect Riser or Azure Dragon, I can stand again both of them and do another of the same power attack. Right, which is very useful. And resting 2 rearguard is actually very useful in this deck. I'll go to it later. Alright, next will be Tortoise. Counter blast 1, soul blast 1, stand this unit and attack your opponent's Vanguard during main phase. Right, so you can actually have additional attack during the main phase, but just having a 9k may not be very useful. So I'm actually thinking of swapping it out with this, the Iron Killer. So when attacking a Vanguard, if you have 3 or more rearguard, plus 5,000. Right, simple. But that will mean that I have 1 lesser attack in this turn. But 14,000 and on the Excel circle 24,000 is very tempting. So high chance that the Tortoise will actually get changed out to Iron Killer. Alright, and I actually played 2 copies of this Boomerang to counter charge or soul charge in case, as you can see that this deck use a lot of resources. Right, so just 2 copies, may not even play them later. Alright, let's go to the grade 1. Alright, so first of all, let's take a look at this. Heartbeat Scrapper. So what you do is, when stand, once per turn when stand, if this card is in the front row, you may give it plus 5,000. If there's 5 face down card in your damage zone, get plus 10,000 instead, and you can counter charge 1 or soul charge 1. Alright, very strong. So you imagine this is in your Excel circle. So it's 18,000, start your turn, withstand 13,000, 23,000. Alright, and you can even go to 28,000 if you have 5 face down card in your damage zone. Alright, I don't really want to play too much of this as it's very situational. Alright, and my favorite is this deck, Shout. I should play until 3 copies, thinking of reducing it to 2. So it's very simple. Rest. Both players review the top of your deck. Right, just review. If both have different grade, the one with the higher grade, draw this card. The one with lower, send it to soul. If both players have the same grade, both add to hand. Right, it may seem like a very weird move to give your opponent the additional advantage, but by resting this, I actually get to activate Scarlet Bird at a lot easier because Soul plus 1 stand all your unit. If you stand 2 or more, Alright, and you have Tiger in the soul, draw 1. Alright, so you get to stand everything. And in this deck, this is very crucial, the restanding and drawing. So let's say I let my opponent draw 1, I come out with this, I restand everything on my field, I draw another 1. And each attack is 20,000 to 30,000, and I think that one card may not really save your opponent, alright? So, but you only need one of these in the field, so maybe I will reduce it to 1 and add 1 more to the riser, alright? And next, we have the riser custom. If the unit in front stand, you can stand this unit. So basically, this is for my brutal check, purely for brutal check or any other grade 2s in front there for multiple attack in each turn. Alright, and clay door. Alright, enter the field. If there's a total of from your hand and rear guard total of 4 and below, you get to draw 1, which seldom happen for me. When you counter +1, you can actually retire this unit to counter charge it. Alright, it's a very good card, but I can't really utilize it in this deck, so I kept it at 2. Alright, and another option I have right now is actually Jet Riser, because you call a lot of rear guards. Every time something get caught, this one plus 3,000. So potentially you have 10, 13, 16, you know, it's not once per turn. Right, it's a good option. So I may have to switch out one of these for this card. Yeah, so for the triggers, I play more the front trigger, as one of the weak point of this deck is during the main phase, if your opponent managed to trigger a defensive trigger, it's very hard for any of your rear guard to go in. So I try to play more front, and I have a critical trigger as a surprise, and you know, I may even swap this draw to more front in the future, but that will need more test play, right? And it's more of a personal play style, right? So yeah, that's for the Riser Nova Grappler deck. Alright, today we look at the Starhawk, the new Link Joker archetype. Alright, so the main feature of this deck is that your grade 3 and your grade 4 actually get to reverse your opponent's effect. Alright, so for critical, during this battle, your opponent Vanguard will lose 1 crit. If they trigger a heal, you actually get to deal 1 damage to the opponent. And for the grade 4, if your opponent trigger a draw, they have to discard 1 card. And for front trigger, the 10,000 go to the back row instead. Alright, this is a very interesting deck. Your opponent may even self-destruct when they trigger a heal. Alright, so this deck is actually against people that trigger a lot in this game. Right, which is very interesting. Right, so this is brand grade 4. Right, which I play 4 copy as this should be my main in the whole deck. Right, and same goes for the grade 3 version, which have 2 less effect, and it only activates on the critical and the heal. Alright, and as this is the main, I also play 4, so 4-4. Alright, but the issue is they are only Vanguard circles, so high chances I will not call them on the rear guard. So here comes to my secondary grade 3. Okay, so right now I have 2 choices. It's between this one that enter on a rear guard circle, counter +1, bind one of your opponent rear guard in face down, or this deleter. Alright, so what you do is very simple. When attacking, retire another unit in the same column. So let's say I retire this. Right. So for each of its grade, I get plus 4,000. So grade 3, I'll get plus 12,000. If I get plus 8,000 and above, I get to bind an opponent face down. Alright. And since there's also a force marker, so this is actually a very good option. Alright, so high chance I will swap out the trial deck version of this to this, or any other grade 3 that comes later. Alright, so for grade 2, alright, let's take a look at the Starhawk first. Okay, this is very simple. When you trigger check a Starhawk, this unit get plus 10,000 during this turn. Alright, so 20, you can go up to like 30,000, right? And when intercept, if your Vanguard have Starhawk in name, you can actually get to look at the top of your opponent deck and choose whether to bind it or not. Alright, so what happened now is, example, if I already activated the effect, right? So I get to intercept, right? So when I intercept, I actually get to look at the top of my opponent deck. Let's say I see a trigger, I want to discard it, I can actually put it back instead of binding it. If I see, let's say, any other thing like, let's say, a grade 1, I can choose to bind it, so there's a higher chance of me your opponent triggering a trigger. Right, so it's on intercept before he triggers, so this is actually very, very strong in Starhawk deck. Right, highly recommended to play 4. Right, because not only it's attacker, it also helps your grade 3 and grade 4 to activate their skill. Alright, so 4 of this. Alright, next will be this interesting unit. So what the triple R do is actually after attacking the Vanguard, if your opponent didn't call any trigger unit, so let's say you only use a grade 2 to intercept, or maybe a grade 1 to guard, you can counter plus 1, draw 1 and bind your opponent's card. Alright, so you actually force them to throw any of their trigger to guard a smaller unit. So he could have just intercept with a grade 2, but you force them to throw a trigger, or you actually get to counter plus 1, bind their grade 2 and above, and also draw 1. Right? So this actually gives your opponent a lot of options to do. Right? They can either lose one of their rear guard that maybe haven't that's crucial to their strategy, and you even draw 1. Right? So this is very good. I have around 4 copies. Alright, and next is this. This grade 2's very simple. If your opponent call a trigger unit, so plus 1 plus 10,000. Alright, so with this, you force your opponent to throw a trigger. If you throw a trigger, you can so plus 1 and plus another 10,000. Alright, so it's an interesting combination. Alright, next will be this. Alright, so it's very simple. When boost, so plus 1, your opponent intercept if possible. Alright, so you can actually force your opponent to intercept with 2 of their key grade 2s, right? So this is a very destructive card in some way. So I only play 1 as I have other things in this deck, and it do not need to go into soul or be retired. You can keep using it. So I'll play 1 copy. You just need 1 of these on the field. Alright, let's go for this first. Alright, on the Guardian Circle, when you use this card to guard, if the attack didn't hit, counter plus 1 call into rear guard circle. Alright, so after guarding, you can actually get another rear guard. Okay, and activate, you can actually soul blast away the grade 0, right, which will be in your soul, and you can look at your opponent's top card and you can choose whether to bind it. Back to the grade 2, you can actually manipulate whether your opponent have a trigger or not. Right? So right now, I would prefer them to have triggers. Right, next, let's take a look at this. We enter a field, counter plus 1, review top 4 card, add 1 grade 2 and above Starhawk to hand, the rest into drop. Alright, I didn't want to play this until I saw the grade 3 and grade 4. Right, so this actually helped me in early game to make sure that the grade 3 and grade 4s are in my hand. Right, so I played 4 for the consistency. And last but not least, alright, this is right now is quite important. You get to soul plus 1 if your opponent have 2 or less rear guard. Look at top 2 and call 1 unit that's lower grade than your opponent's Vanguard. Right, so I want as many field as possible, and with this I can actually combo up with a lot of weird things, like, you know, I can add another one for me to intercept later and actually manipulate my opponent's top deck. Alright, so the 3. And for the trigger is standard, so 4 draw, 8 crit, 4 heal. Right, this will be a very irritating deck in tournament, and as I'm still tuning it, we'll see in a few better videos maybe later, and see what can they do. Right, so see you.